Welcome to the CabralConcept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're here with a brand new week of the CabralConcept. Excited because this is our Motivation and Mindset Monday, which means that every single show going forward this week, every action tip we give you, every plan we share with you in order to follow to achieve your goals really needs to start with the mindset that you can make it happen. So few people in this world actually believe that they have the strength, they have the power, they have the mindset in order to follow through and achieve their goals. Most people believe, unrightly so, that all of these big goals can be achieved, but they just can be achieved by other people outside of themselves. They don't actually believe that these goals are for them. They believe that some people somewhere in the world are simply handpicked in order to receive all of these amazing things in life, but not necessarily them. It is my job to share with you that that simply is not true. All that you are missing are certain tips and strategies in order to take your life to that next level. And I'm going to share one of them with you today. And of course, if you go to stephencabral.com/podcast, you will find hundreds of other Mindset and Motivation Monday podcasts, hundreds over the past 5 years that will help you up level in all sorts of different ways. Because I can tell you this, the only people who don't achieve their goals are those people that don't believe they can do it. I want to repeat that. The only people who do not achieve their goals in life are those that do not believe they can do it, which is why the last step, it's not necessarily the last one, but the last part of my de-stress protocol that I wrote about in the Rain Barrel Effect is success mindset. When I teach wellness or weight loss or anti-aging, it's diet-based, it's exercise-based, right? Movement for your body, it's stress reduction, it's toxin removal, it's rest and sleep protocols, it's emotional balance, and it's certain scientifically backed nutritional supplements. But there's one more component, and that is the success mindset. Because the only people that I've ever seen relapse or not achieve their goals are those people that cannot follow through on the certain tasks that are needed in order to achieve their goals. Because remember, success leaves clues, as we've spoken about before, right? Jim Rohn taught us that. Zig Ziglar taught us that. So many other great, brilliant minds. They leave clues, meaning like people that have already achieved the relationship that you want, the finances that you want, the health that you want, the body that you want, the spirituality that you want, whatever it might be, they've already done it. And then many of those people have created a course, a book, a blueprint, something that shares with you, here's how not only have I done it, but here's how I've taught hundreds or thousands of other people. And again, my particular expertise is in wellness, is in health, is in body transformation, anything to do with the human body. That's what I've dedicated my life to. And I've written down, I've given you all my blueprints. I teach you how to do the labs. I teach all of this inside of the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute as well. But that does not mean that someone is going to follow and do the labs or do a protocol or whatever it might be, right? Because that's where the mindset comes in. We know it will work, so much so because we've been doing it for so long and have helped so many people that we actually guarantee it. And many other people guarantee their work as well, because it's just like, if you follow this, it will work for you. Is there an exact timeline? Meaning like, well, why does it work for some people in 3 months and some people it takes 6? It depends on the level a person's coming in. And it also depends on how dedicated they are to it, right? 10 minutes a day exercising is not going to get the same results most likely as 30 minutes a day exercising. But in the end, you'll still achieve the same result. The first one may just take a little longer, right? So remember, but doing the work at whatever pace will eventually get you to that goal. So I want to share one big tip. This is something that I've really learned over the years. In the beginning, most of the things, honestly, it's kind of like we know them. So what I'm going to share with you today, I've been doing for 25 years. probably way longer, but I was only a teenager then. So, how much longer? I don't know. But we are taught as humans from a very young age, it's innate that we model other human beings. First, we model our parents or whoever those people are that are essentially caring for us. So we can tell our children one thing, but really, they're not really. They're listening, yes, but they're watching, right? It's the watching. So I really began to realize this when I got very, very sick, 17 years old. I mean, it was absolutely brutal. I'll tell you the worst part. The worst part was being told, we don't know what is wrong with you. And it may be all in your head. That's obviously not something that anybody wants to hear. It's actually quite rude that you're suffering from something clearly, and a doctor or anyone tells you that, well, it may be all in your head. But anyway, we'll move on from that particular topic. But really the hard thing is saying, we don't know how to get you well. We don't ever know if you will get well again. And maybe if you get worse, meaning like your blood work looks worse, we'll know what to do. Because then what happens is when everything is left open, meaning there can be no closure, you start to get fearful. Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? And it's unknown, and you can become very anxious. You can become overwhelmed. You can become depressed. And that's how a lot of people move into those positions. But if you knew, like even if a doctor back then told me at 17 years old, okay, we know what this is. It takes about 2 years to get better. I'd say to myself, well, this is awful, right? This is awful. I don't want to wait 2 years to get better. However, I could say, yes, but it could be I would never get better, or it would take 10 years. Okay, so for the next 2 years, I'm going to dedicate myself to this, this, and this. At least I would have an end date. But when you don't have an end date, you have no idea. And by the way, it should never take 2 years for someone to get well. So here's the thing, though. What I want to share with you is this. The way that I got well, the way that I've achieved anything is by seeking out, essentially being, as they say, I know that this is a family show, so we'll just put it this way. You want to be sometimes the dumbest person in the room. And I mean that in the kindest and gentlest way possible. Meaning that if you are always the person that has all the answers, how do you get to that next level? So what I realized, again, early on is that I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know how to get well. So the internet actually can be a nice thing, right? Because when I got sick, in the late 90s, there was no internet, right? At least not, like I always say, at least not in Medford, Massachusetts. Nobody had the internet. Like you had AOL dial-up maybe in, the 99, 2000, somewhere around there. And so, what we were looking at is it took me 2 years to even find out there was something called alternative medicine or natural health. But once I did, it was like a whole new world. I went to go see some practitioners in Cambridge, and then I would see practitioners in New Hampshire, all around Boston. And then what I realized was like, oh, now the internet is here, and information started to trickle onto the internet. And then at that point, I was able to do a little bit more research. And I said, oh, wow, look at this thing. Look at this. Look at this. So the information is nice that you have the availability and spread of ideas. Because before that, you literally had word of mouth, or you had the yellow pages to look up, what's around in your local area. So that's why the internet's always not such a bad thing. I mean, there's certainly some issues with it, but it took me 2 years to even find out there was something called alternative medicine, right? It would have obviously happened much faster if I started looking up like Addison's disease, myalgic encephalomyelitis, rheumatoid arthritis, or juvenile autoimmune issues. I'd be able to find those things faster. Okay. But anyway, what I realized was I needed a mentor. I needed a doctor, a practitioner to share with me what have they done in order to help people like me get well. And the first, second, 20th practitioner, they had a lot of great information. But then when I met my mentor, Dr. Pete, she was able to say, you've done a lot of work. You've done a lot of good things. You've read a lot of books. Let me help you put it all together now. And that's what she did. And so very grateful for her. She opened my eyes to all sorts of different things, blending traditional naturopathy with functional medicine, with Ayurvedic medicine, and even using genetics as well. So that changed everything for me. But what did I have to do? I had to essentially release the ego, my ego, to a point where I said, I don't know it all. I just don't. I don't know how to get well. I've tried so many different things and so many different protocols, and I'm doing well. I'm getting better over the years, but then I relapse again and I feel just as bad. Help me stay well. Help me get well, which I've been able to do, but then help me stay well. And again, so a great mentor in that particular instance was really, really helpful. But in other regards, and again, I can only share my stories. I don't want to share private stories from our practice. But one thing that I see too is when I went to build out my 2 locations in Boston, Massachusetts, I didn't know how to build out a location. I had never built out a home or locations. So what did I do? Okay, I wanted to create first, before I became a doctor of naturopathy, I was a personal trainer, strength and conditioning specialist, nutritionist. So my first location, we were helping people with all of those things. And it was a private studio. And we were working with 1,000+ appointments a month. Absolutely amazing. But I had to build it out. I had to figure out, how do you run this? Now, I was learning along the way because I was consulting for dozens of different health clubs and boutique studios and spas and all these great things. But when it came to my own, I said, all right, let me figure out how to do this. Now, I had no idea, but I could research a little bit online. But then I hired a contractor to say, this is what I'm looking for. Please help me do this. And I also was able to reach out from, and this may be beneficial for you, do you know a friend of a friend? Do you have a parent or sibling or uncle or aunt who is in a particular industry that could point you in the right direction? So for example, my father has owned his own electrical-based business and now merged with a larger company. And I said to him, well, help me with the contracting, right? Like, help me know what I don't know. What do I need for lighting? What does that look like? What's it going to cost? Here's what it's going to be used for. So he was very very strategic and valuable in being able to share with me decades worth of knowledge that there's no way that I could ever get, right? So those are some of those benefits. Now you might say, well, I don't know. I don't have a friend. I don't have a family member. That's okay. A friend of a friend typically knows somebody that's able to put you in touch with that person. Now, what I also do, and I'll tell you this, is that I ask colleagues in the field as well. Now, they may not know contractors, those types of people, but let's say when I my second location, which was a integrative health and functional medicine wellness center, I said, now I need to set up all sorts of different front desk software, et cetera. What are you using? And I took all of their different advice, the pros and the cons. And then I said, okay, based on everything I heard, I did my own research, right? Because you don't have to just take everything at face value. And I said, okay, these are the top 2. And then I began to look at them a little bit more in depth, do some demos, and finally choose one. But I did that by reaching out to all sorts of different individuals who have experience with it, real world experience, and say, teach me what you do right now. I don't know. I'm going to give you a couple more examples, but I hope that you're seeing a theme that you have to understand. Anything that you have not achieved in life, any goal that you have not achieved, is simply because you don't know yet how to get there. And if you do, well, then we're really talking about the discipline in order to take the actions in order to achieve the goal. But I believe that even if you think that you know how to get there, you're not confident enough. If you are confident enough and that goal was important to you, then you'd be going after it right now. So it's somewhat of a confidence issue in the actual plan. So if you're able to actually see people and know people that have achieved what you want, and they can teach you how to get there, like even mentor you along the way, which is another example. We were doing, again, 20,000 appointments a year now. We have down what we do to a science. We know that it works. We want to share it with more people, but we don't necessarily want to invest all of the money and all of the resources and all of the time to open up all different locations all over New England and, maybe all over the US. But that was not the goal. My goal was never to franchise. That's not that type of thing. My goal was to share the information. Take action on it if you want, but either way, I'm going to get that information out to you because that was part of my mission. I said to myself at 19 years old, hey, if I ever figure this out, because it doesn't look good right now, but if I figure it out, And I get myself, well, I'm going to share this with the world. I said that to myself. I know exactly where I said it to myself. And I was able to make good on that in 2016 when I started my podcast. But what did I do? I didn't know how to do a podcast. So what did I do? I hired John Lee Dumas. I hired Jamie Masters. I hired both of them, John with his course that I've talked about before, and Jamie one-on-one. She gave me one call a month, no emails, nothing in between. So I took advantage of that 1 hour a month. I said, okay, what do I need to get done by our next call? Okay, I'm going to do it. And I followed what she said. And I was also following John's course as well. And I was doing it. I was implementing it. I made sure I was on time so they could ask them, what are the best practices? What do I need to know? How can you shorten my learning curve so it doesn't take me a year to start up and instead it takes 3 to 4 months? And that's exactly what I did. In 4 months, from start to finish, I started with no podcast at all, and then finished 4 months later with a podcast ready to launch for the new year. And so that was super exciting for me because now I get to deliver this free 20-minute podcast every single day to people. And it's kind of changed and morphed a little bit over the years, but really it's the same thing every single day, one topic. Let me try to share my view of what we're talking about with you based on what I've seen now for 20 plus years and 250,000 people. So again, but what did it do? Well, I said, I don't need to figure all this out. That's one part. I'm also not as smart as John Lee Dumas or Jamie Masters in podcasting when I first starting out, and they have at least 3 years of experience on me. I don't know any of these things, right? And even to this day, I will call John Lee Dumas and I'll say, hey, what's going on right now in the podcast industry? He's way more up on it, and he's still one of the best out there because he practices his craft, right? Every single day, he is out there doing it. Now in a totally different space. He's in the business space, right? I'm in the health space. But remember, best practices move across all categories. And the last one I'll just share with you is this. I knew how to run lab testing in office with an individual. I knew how to do all of my consultations in person. I used to do live blood microscopy, dried blood microscopy, all these different, exam-based things in my office, all these great stuff. But I had never done that virtually. I had never sent labs in the mail. I had never created protocols in terms of being able to mail them out to people, right? Because I could always show them in the office and they could always come by my Boston Wellness Center or either of the practices and pick up whatever they needed. So for me, I had to figure out how do all of these things work? Well, here's the crazy thing. And then this is why I wanted to share this last one with you. It had never been done in the industry before, meaning that no one is shipping labs all around the world. Nobody is creating protocols and shipping them all around the world. So we had to build this from the ground up with Equalife. So, and the reason why I share that with you is you can do things even if they've never been done. And the way that you do that is you listen to, hire the consultant, read the book, whatever is within your price range, and say, well, we can build this piece and we can build this piece because people have already done that before. And then we're going to start to pull them all together, right? Well, people have shipped this before, so can we ship functional medicine labs? Okay, well, how do we get them back? And then how do we do a video-based call instead of an in-person call? And we figured all of those things out, and now it's been 4 years, almost 5 years, and going strong. But each time, what did I go along? I literally said to every single person that I hired as a coach, as a consultant, I said, please share with me, because I don't know, right? Please share with me the best practices of people that are successful or the most successful that you coach. So I always ask them, listen, you're very successful here, but not everybody maybe is like you. So out of all the people that you coach that hire you, tell me your most successful clients, what do they do? And I want to share that with you. This is really important because that's a phrase that you need to memorize. If you take nothing away from the show, take away this. Please share with me the best practices of those people that are most successful that you coach. That's it. So now they're going to share with you, listen, I might coach 100 people, let's just say that, but I've got 20 that are really successful, let's say, right? The 80-20 rule. Okay, what are those 20 people doing or even not doing, right? I've shared that on my last couple Mindset and Motivation Monday podcasts. What are they not doing that makes them even more successful? And when you ask those questions and you really kind of step back and say, listen, I am here because I have not achieved my goal yet. I'm here because I want to learn. I'm pushing my ego off to the side and saying, I want to get well. I want to improve my career. I want to improve my body. I want to improve my overall health. I want to improve my spirituality. If you know what your end goal is, and you know that you just haven't achieved it yet, but if you were given the guidance or blueprint and you were able to just step back, listen, and not get in your own way, because that's sometimes such a big part of the issue, I can almost guarantee you, you will achieve anything you were looking for within 12 months. Unless it's like a 4-year degree, okay, you're not going to achieve that within 12 months, but you'll get into the college, you'll get started on that, right? There's no doubt about it. Or you'll start the online school or the online certification. Remember, everything is moving virtual now. And the reason is that you can just accomplish so much more, and it's opened up as a global scale. So if you want to take a lesson right now from a world-renowned professor that only teaches in Germany at this specific school, well, now you can probably do an online course with that person. They probably have some lectures that you're able to learn about as well. So it's pretty important. Here's the thing though. No matter what plan you're given, please understand, you need to follow it. You need to implement it exactly as laid out. Don't put your own twist on it. Remember, if you already knew how to get there, you'd get there. So don't put your own twist on it. Here's what you want to do. Implement the plan. Then, after weeks or months, you want to be able to check in with that individual, and you want to then make adjustments for your individual needs, but not probably in the beginning unless they say so, right? Because remember, if you knew how to get there, you'd already be there by now. So a lot of times it's either a confidence issue in the plan or it's the plan itself. So make adjustments as needed, but remember, follow the plan. Ensure that no matter what level of success you achieve, always find new groups and mentors so that you remain what I call the most foolish person in the room. And if you continue to level up and do that, you just may find yourself to be wildly successful in anything you put your mind to. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much. I look forward to being right back here tomorrow on another Cabral Concept. And as always, if this was helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. I truly do. So thank you so much. And as a valued listener of the show, I want to let you know about our Zeldaberry Immuno Lozenges giveaway. This is a product that not enough people know about. So I literally told the EcoLife team, I said, listen, I want to be able to share this product with more people so they know about the big benefits of Zeldaberry. Zeldaberry is a specific trademark product that we've created that provides the clinical benefits of elderberry extract. If you've never heard about elderberry, this is something that has now been used successfully in clinical trials to actually destroy and kill viruses by stopping that viral-based replication. And one of the perfect pairings with elderberry is zinc. Zinc is also now clinically proven to help stop viral-based replication. And for the common cold, zinc helps your body recover typically 1 to 2 or more days faster than you would without that extra zinc-based support. So that's why I love being able to provide you with the best of functional medicine, of course, mixed with ancient wisdom of Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine herbs. So if you've never heard of our Zeldaberry products, we have a product called Zeldaberry Max that you can literally take 3 times or more per day at the onset of a cold or virus, and you can use that for a week to boost the immune system. But Zeldaberry Lozenges is 25 milligrams of zinc, 100 milligrams of elderberry. You could take one of these a day to get your extra zinc in, or simply keep a bottle around, which is what I do, for that little dryness, scratchiness in the back of your throat, or maybe you're traveling on a plane, you're around a lot of people at a conference, and this is a great thing to use for that 3 to 5 days that you may need it. Now, for a cold, you might end up taking it for a week or two to get that 25 milligrams extra per day of zinc, as well as that elderberry extract. Again, both clinically proven. It's an amazing product, and you can check it out right now over at stevencabral.com/EcoLife. And believe it or not, we are actually giving away free bottles right now. We have 500 bottles available. They are completely free for the first 500 orders, qualifying orders right now over at Equalife. Find out all the details at stephencabral.com/Equalife, and you can check out both of our Zeldaberry-based products. Take care, everyone.